Hey everybody, Ironman U coach Tim Dels here, and today we are talking bags. Ironman is one of the most unique events on the planet, and one of the things that makes them unique is the gear bags. A lot of first timers have questions, what to do with them, what to put in them, when to use them, that kind of stuff, so we're going to get right into it on that. At every Ironman race you show, at 140.6, every Ironman 140.6 you show up to, you're going to get 5 bags. You're going to have a morning clothes bag, a bike gear bag, a run gear bag, a bike personal needs bag, and a run personal needs bag. And it can be confusing at first. You pick up your packet, you go back to your hotel or your lodging, and you're like, man, what am I going to do with all of these? So, the morning clothes bag is very simple. Basically, the purpose of it is you show up to transition race morning. You come in, you pump up your tires, you bring your nutrition and all that stuff. And oftentimes you'll wear a hoodie, sweatpants, maybe it's raining, a rain jacket or something while you're doing your race morning prep that you wouldn't wear when you get in the water. And if you don't have friends or family there, or maybe you're going to want something that's accessible to you right after you finish, but before you make it through the finish line area to where you'll actually be able to get to your family, you would want to put that in your morning clothes bag. Nothing valuable, right? No cell phones, no wallets, nothing like that. Leave those either in your car, give them to your family, or maybe you have your tri team is in the tri club village, give it to them. But any clothing or anything that's not of value that you would want at the finish line after finishing, you want to put in there. Very simple. And that bag is going to be clear just like this one. All right. The next bag that we're going to talk about is your bike gear bag. That's this blue guy right here, as you can see, and I even got stuff in it so that we can talk about that. Your bike gear bag and your run gear bag, you are going to drop off the day before the race when you rack your bike. Okay? And typically you're going to drop it off in the location that you are going to be picking them up from on race morning, whether they're on a hanging system or whether they're on a ground in numerical order. You're going to put it in the spot that you're going to pick it up from typically. Okay? And when you drop that off, what you need to have is, for your bike bag, for example, you're going to have your helmet and your shoes, anything that you're going to want for the bike, right? You're going to put a headband under your helmet, anything like that, gloves, whatever. Apparel, if you're going to do the swim and then you're going to change into bib shorts or change out of a bathing suit into a cycling kit or something like that, you want that all in the bag when you drop it off the day before the race. What you don't want in there is nutrition. Bring your nutrition with you race morning. You'll have access to all your bags. So bring your nutrition, your hydration, that stuff with you. You don't want to leave that in there overnight. There might be critters, right? This is an outdoor event. The last thing you want are some raccoons getting into your caffeinated gels and having like a crazy party in transition, right? So in my case, I'm a pretty simple guy. I have, when I race, I tend to do things as simple as possible. So I have my helmet, and as you can see, this is one of these Darth Vader, massive style helmets. And I'm struggling with the magnet, right? This one is huge. Even something like this, the new version of the Aero helmets, fit in these bags without an issue. So no need to be concerned there. And then I also just have my bike shoes. Ironman is a clean transition. So your bike shoes and your helmet are in there because you're not allowed to have them at your bike. Okay, so keep that in mind when you're packing your gear bags. The way that it will work on race day is, you've gone, you put your stuff in, you've taken off all your morning clothes, and you started your swim, right? And you bang out your 2.4 miles, you have a great swim, you get out of the water, you pull off the cap, you pull off the goggles. If you're lucky enough to have wetsuit peelers to help you out, you peel that off too, or you take it off yourself. you run towards the changing tent, you grab your bike gear bag, and you head into the changing tent. What you're going to do is remove your bike stuff from the bag and then put your swim stuff in the bag. This is now your swim gear bag, okay? It will now hold your swim gear for the rest of the day. At IRONMAN Maryland, for example, what you're gonna do is after you've gotten completely dressed, when you head to your bike to go start your bike portion, you're going to carry that bag with you and put it on the ground under your bike. That way, at the end of the day, when it's all over and you're recollecting all your stuff, it's gonna be there at your bike. All right, pretty simple, right? Okay. Your next bag that we're going to talk about is the run gear bag, the nice red bag here. It's going to serve the same exact premise. Everything that you're going to need on race morning, with the exception of hydration and nutrition, put in the day before when you drop it off. So your shoes, your hat or visor, your bib number, you know, anything like that, you're going to want it in there. Much like the bike, I'm a pretty simplistic guy, so I literally am just a hat and a number, old school IRONMAN number, and then my running shoes, and that's literally all that would go in my bag, with the exception of my nutrition, you know, for the run portion, which I would bring on race morning. So you come in, you get off of the bike, you rack your bike, or if you're at a race that happens to have volunteers to do the racking, but you come in, you dismount from your bike, you either put your bike away or hand it off, and you start heading towards the changing tent. You'll run past your run bag, grab that into the changing tent, and then the same principle applies. You will take all of your run stuff out, put all of your bike stuff in, and that is now the bag that's going to hold your bike stuff. At IRONMAN Maryland, what will then happen is you will leave that bag in the changing tent. And then volunteers will collect your bags and they will take them to your bike and put them on the ground next to your bag that has your swim stuff. So when you're done, all your gear, both of your gear bags will be at your bike to make your pickup a lot easier. The two bags that most people, that people get most confused with are bike personal needs, which is orange, and run personal needs, which is black. What IRONMAN does that's different, in addition to these bags, in the bag system in general, is they set up personal needs on the bike and on the run, and what you can do with these bags is put anything in them that you might need during the race, or that you would want during the race. Rule number one, don't plan on getting these bags back. So don't put a second pair of shoes in there and I'm going to change them at the halfway point. Don't put a $120 rain jacket in there, right? If you wanna layer, I highly recommend, you know, because the sun's going to go down, it might get cool. Go get yourself something cheap from like Sierra Trading Post, Walmart, something like that. That's a tech fabric you could throw over. But if you lose it, you don't get it back, you're not heartbroken over it. The bike personal needs bag gets sent out to mile 58, which is a full aid station, but will also double as your bike personal needs. One thing that things that I always recommend putting in there is enough equipment to change 2 flats. So if you're running tube tires, 2 tubes, 2 CO2s, because it's 58 miles to that point, and if you flat in the first half of your bike and you have to go through your equipment, the last thing you want to do is have to do, you know, the last 50 or 70 or 80 or whatever miles with no tools and no equipment to be able to fix a flat. So 2 tubes, 2 CO2s. I personally use powdered nutrition that I mix with water. So like I start with enough on the bike to get me to personal needs, and then I would have my second half nutrition there, mix up and continue. I also find it's cool to put like a little reward or snack in there. I'm a huge peanut M&Ms guy. Doesn't taste like any of the nutrition you're eating on course, so I will put something like that in there. It really helps with like a mental reset, right? Like you've been racing your hours in, right? 3, 4, 5 hours into your race, or sometimes more. And you're just putting in work and you're already starting to feel fatigue and that kind of stuff. Just having some kind of a reward like that, awesome. If you're putting your nutrition in here for the second half, I highly recommend you don't pre-mix it unless you have to. And the reason why is these go and they get set out in open areas because that's where aid stations are. And if it's a warm day, that thing is going to be cooking until you get there. The last thing you want is to grab a bottle and take a drink of a science experiment because it's been cooking all day. So, bike personal needs, mile 58. You go through, you tell them you want it at the aid station. A volunteer will pull it, give it to you. You grab what you want, need. You hand it back, and then they take it out of the line. Run personal needs. This one is a bit unique at Maryland from the standpoint that you pass it a bunch of times. It is going to be in Jerry Boyle Park, basically right near the changing tents. And so you're going to run by it 2 times on every lap. The rules for Ironman Maryland state you can use it anytime you want. So it's not like a lot of races where you only have one opportunity at around the halfway point, but you are only able to access it once. So if you use it the second time you go by and you're at mile 8, you're not going to have access to it anymore. So make sure to give that some thought and plan that out a little bit. Much like just like the bike bag, don't count on getting it back. So nothing crazy in there that you would be really disappointed if you didn't get back. So that's the bag system. It's pretty, it seems like a lot, but it's pretty simple when you think about it. Couple little tips for your bike bag, your blue bag, and your red run bag. So your T1 and T2 bags. I recommend taking an index card beforehand and writing down everything that you're putting in the bag, and write it down in the order that you would want it, right? So if you were getting dressed for the bike, what would you want? Well, I would want my bottom, then my top, then my socks, then my, whatever your order is, write it down in that order. And that does 2 things. One, it makes sure that you're not forgetting anything, right? And then you can also, once you've written it and you've packed your bag, take a picture of that list after you've checked it off. So that the night before the race, when you're freaking out, you can go back and look at that and you could say, oh, everything's in there except my nutrition and this, and I know where these things are. The second way that helps is transition volunteers, changing tent volunteers, try to be extremely helpful. Like, they want to help you get through, get everything done, and get you on your way to save you as much time as possible. So I've seen volunteers literally like dump the bag and just start handing stuff to the athletes to be helpful. So giving them that card literally allows you to not, if you're lucky enough to get one of those volunteers, allows you not to have to think about it. They're just going to be, oh, boom, bottom. Oh, here's the top. Here's your sunglasses. Here's your helmet. And so you're just going through the motions and they're assisting you. They try really hard to be helpful. So it's a long day. The less you have to think, the better. And then the third thing you can do is maybe your race might have some precipitation going on. These bags, they're plastic, so they don't let water in, but they're not exactly, they don't seal all the way, right? It's a drawstring bag. 2-gallon Ziploc bags or zip style bags fit in these, and you can fit a helmet in them, you can fit shoes in them, you can fit clothes in them, and they'll still fit in these bags. So if you're going to if there's a chance of rain or something like that, it's really nice to be able to put on dry socks. But when you start the run or something like that, you can use those, put your stuff in the bags, and then put, in the Ziploc bag, then put it in your actual Ironman bags, and they'll be good and dry and ready for you when you get there. If you got any questions about the bags, feel free to comment or let us know. Happy to walk through it further. But that's it. That's your Ironman bags. See you guys in September.